Hey guys, what's up? It's Finch here. We're back with another video. Today we're going to be going over the round one of Smogon Tour playoffs matchup between FC and Bushtush. For those of you that aren't familiar, FC has actually been someone who's hung around my server quite a bit. Really nice guy, one of the main Ubers players, and I believe one of the cheerleaders as well. He's coming off some of his initial tournament success recently, and I'm a big fan of him. Really great guy, good character, and also just a nice fiery battler with passion for the game. And I could not be more appreciative of seeing his just willingness to be around the community, and also really happy to see success. So it's really great to see him. As for Bushtush, probably a bit more known of a player. Bushtush is one of the strongest Canadian players. He's done well in tiers like OU this generation, but also UU, and he goes back to other generations like ADV, Black White, I'm sure ORAS and SM as well, as they're in tour. And as you see, he's playing one of them right here. Bush is just a really strong player, super offensive in terms of his play style and his approaching games, but he's not afraid to get down and dirty and make it work however he would like to as well. Overall, I'm really fond of his approach to the game, and I'm excited to see how these two duke it out. I'd say Bushtush is the conventional favorite, if only because he probably has a bit more experience in OU generations. FC is more of an Ubers main, and also he's had a pretty good year aside from maybe one tournament recently, the SCL. He had a great SBL breaking out after his ban, and now he's back in business, and I'm really excited to see my boy Bush go at it. Of course, FC is a formidable opponent as well, and is going to give him a run for his money. I believe the first game of the set actually was not going to be the ORAS game, so my apologies for that, but rather the SS game. It could go Generation 6, 7, could be just 2. We'll have to wait and see. But let's go ahead and get into it. In Generation 8, we're seeing a really offensive team from Bushtush. Looks like hyper offense. A lot of setup sweepers, which is interesting. As for FC using a really standard team, I've seen this 6 before actually. Nothing wrong with it. Future Sight with Weavile is really threatening. Heatran and Thornus, dual steel core, we've seen those a lot. And Tornadus with Regenerator, a little speed as well, potential utility. And Lander's T there, well, of course, because Lander's T. Bushtush's matchup looks pretty good for me. I think the Moltres Galar can do pretty well. They can potentially pick things off. The right Dragapult set is pretty strong too. And finally, Cloyster, some chip on Slowbro I could do well, and Garchomp could probably open the game up for that. I think Garchomp is probably not going to be sweeping, but early on in the game, it's definitely going to be able to force a ton of pressure. As for Kartana, it's the one Pokemon I really don't like too much here. I think it's going to struggle with Tornadus T, but if it could get past that, Tornadus T can, weaken itself or die early, then Kartana can just sweep this game too. So, all in all, a lot of threats for Bushtush. As for FC, I think his Tornadus T is actually pretty valuable here. It can definitely threaten things, pivot in and out. Lander's T is actually pretty hard to switch into for Bushtush as well. And the Regenerator bulk of Slowbro can come in handy too here, potentially being able to check things multiple times. So yeah, let's go ahead and proceed on into the game. Right off the bat, Bushtush is going to lead with Heatran, smart lead there, and both of these guys are going to be Balloon, which is kind of in the metagame right now. Be able to wall opposing Heatran and also take things like Earthquake and Lander's T comes in handy. Both go for Rocks turn 1, and FC, knowing he can break the Balloon, Bushtush probably can't, goes for a Flash Cannon. Does nice 48 to Garchomp, but perhaps scared of breaking that Balloon, he switches out. Garchomp goes Swords Dance here. Slowbro is not going to be Ice Beam, but he is going to get a Teleport off into Weavile, which will have an Ice move, therefore being able to threaten out Garchomp. Garchomp, of course, scared of the Ice move, is going to pivot out Heatran. Bushtush, knowing he can't really do much in the Tran Mirror, is going to be okay losing his Trans Balloon here, knowing full well that he is going to really have to make some progress with his other Pokemon, and he does just that, doubling to Moltres Galar. FC makes a nice mid-ground going Landorus, but ultimately, it's not going to do too much. He's going to get a Toxic off here, but Fire Wrath is going to do nice 30%, and Rock Sword up. Overall, that's going to leave Landorus T low, and to add insult to injury, Bushtush is going to get a flinch, leaving FC with a lower Landorus T than he would have liked. Weavile comes in here, and Weavile will tank any hit, but it tanks that Fiery Wrath with ease, thankfully. Unfortunately, though, for Bushtush, he's going to have to take even more chip on the Heatran, taking rocks once more. But fortunately for Bushtush, Triple Axle is going to be the move of choice for FC, and that only hits once, leaving Heatran still above 2/3 health. The thing is, though, FC, every time he goes Heatran, he can just sit on Bushtush's Heatran as long as Balloon's intact. So Bushtush can't really do anything in this situation. So he doubles the Garchomp, seeing that. A really nice aggressive play, highlighting his offensive playstyle nicely. Lander's T comes in here, and that's all fine and well, but Scale Shot is going to leave it very, very low, if not take it out altogether. And the third hit, being a critical hit, will do the trick there, making it so that Garchomp is now in and quicker than everything, essentially forcing Weavile to come in and go for Ice Shard. And sure enough, Heatran's going to come in here, and it's actually going to be on the Ice Shard, meaning, again, Heatran's going to come in relatively unscathed. It's still at half health. This time around, FC surprisingly doesn't go Heatran, but rather goes to Tornadus T. It's going to take a ton of damage there, and I guess Bushtush tried to maybe call the superpower. I was really surprised by this, honestly. I thought a knockoff of U-turn was coming, but either way, Dragapult comes in here on that superpower, and it maybe Bushtush neuter team, I'm not too sure, but it is now primed to get a kill here, so that's really great for Bushtush. Ferrothorn comes in on this turn, and it's going to come in on a Dragon Darts. That Dragon Darts is actually not going to do too much, and unless this is Fire Blast or Flamethrower, it's not going to be great. So therefore, Garchomp comes in here now, and it comes in on a knockoff, and that knockoff is going to lose its leftovers, but Ferrothorn takes some chip in the meantime, which is going to keep it low, and it seems it's low enough to where Fire Fang from Garchomp will just barely take it out, putting Bushtush in a 6-4 position. Now, Garchomp has taken a beating at this point, so he's ultimately going to let it go to the Weavile. However, Weavile does invite in Cloyster. And Cloyster, okay, it's not the strongest Pokemon in this context, unfortunately, but it is strong enough at +2 to take out a Slowbro with a neutral Rock Blast. So, therefore, FC is going to have to fodder off his seemingly Assault Vest Tornadus T. It's going to die to 1 Rock Blast, and that's going to invite the Slowbro back in here now, and at this health it could just barely hang on and take that Rock Blast. He initially thought it might do around half, so he recovered, and it does do around half, but it does enough to where 51, 52 is probably the average, so ultimately you're not really going to be able to do much progress with Cloyster here if you're Bushtush, and if you want to keep the pressure up. So what's going to happen here is FC knows he's not gaining much damage, and Bushtush knows he's not going to get the kill. FC attacks, but Bushtush calls that, goes Dragapult on the body press, and that's huge, letting him get a Dragon Dance off here. That invites in Heatran, but can Heatran really wall this? Is there much it can do? Phantom Force gets revealed here, and while Weavile would take one from full, from this range of health it could not, and Heatran can't either. It looks like Dragapult might just walk away with the game as Dragon Dart should kill this, and yeah, indeed, it does live the Ice Shard from the Weavile. It might have even been adamant damage, but no matter, Dragapult takes that, and Bushtush is going to run away with the victory here, emerging victorious 5-0. The game was perhaps a little bit closer than that, but ultimately, Bushtush sequenced really nicely, got the most out of a couple Pokemon such as Garchomp and Dragapult, and didn't even have to send out that Kartana despite the Tornadus T falling, so that's pretty cool there. Definitely a fan of how Bushtush approached this game. FC probably a bit more on the passive side, definitely would have had to take a bit more risks, but ultimately he did his best there, and you can't fault him for that. It was a tough matchup. Getting into Game 2, we're seeing Game 2 is now going to be ORAS. If it goes to Game 3, we're going to be seeing SM. Ultimately, I think SM probably favors Bushtush the most out of the 3 tiers, just because FC wasn't much of an OU player that generation, and Bushtush was around all gen. As for ORAS, probably the tier Bushtush was maybe least familiar with. FC, naturally pretty offensive player, knows what to do, so maybe he could pilot hyper offense well, and that's what we saw he went with here. And ORAS is a generation that, with time, has become more hyper offense friendly, so that's not too shocking there. Bushtush, though, with a great pick, deciding to bring Mega Lopunny into hyper offense, that's going to work wonders for him. It does super well in this matchup as well. Ultimately, the ability to control speed like that, and he's got a couple other fast Pokemon too, like Tornadus T and Superior, is going to play well into his hand. FC, as we said, is rocking with that hyper offense. Probably just a lead Azelf, maybe screens, you know. We could see a Swords Dance Crodon, DD Mega Altaria, Tail Glow on the Manaphy, and just a Contrary Serp. So yeah, let's go ahead and get into the game without further ado. First game was just like 28 turns. This wasn't anything too crazy. I mean, I think we probably got through it in like 7-8 minutes. Yeah, we're at the 8-minute mark. So let's keep that ball rolling. So here we're going to see Elite Altaria, which is actually a good call here from FC because there aren't really many switch-ins to Earthquake Altaria from Bushtush. I mean, the 2 Steel types, they can take the Frustration or Return or Body Slam, whatever it may be, but Earthquake is going to absolutely annihilate both of them, killing the Heatran in 1 and the Drill in 2 shots. And no other Pokemon resist Fairy, so that's pretty tough. Definitely a good Altaria matchup, but aside from that, a good Mega Lopunny matchup from Bushtush. So arguably speaking, the Megas are going to be pulling a lot of weight on both ends here, I'd say. With Mega Lopunny really controlling the speed. Both of them do Mega Evolve turn 1, unsurprisingly. We're going to see a Fake Out here from Bushtush. Good play there. He goes Excadrill, and FC is just going to go for the conservative frustration. Just trying to get some chip off, figure out what he's dealing with. It reveals to not be a Scarf Drill there too, which is helpful. And he's going to threaten him out with Iron Head. Gliscor comes in here now for FC. Gets that Poison Heal, unsurprisingly. We're going to see a Taunt. I'm not too sure what this Taunt was aiming for, in all honesty. Taunt on the Tornadus or the Rotom Wash didn't really make much sense. Maybe for the Superior, but it wasn't Screen Serp, so I don't know. I feel as if at that juncture, you probably would just go for damage or rocks. If you had it, U-turn, or if you didn't have it, or maybe even a double switch. So that, to me, felt a little off, but also it was too hard to... It was too hard to maybe make that play, I guess, at that point. I'm not too sure, honestly. This was a turn that was kind of a head-scratcher for me. And it's okay to look back at that and say, Some turns are hard. You got to keep in mind it's a high-pressure series, so everyone makes little mistakes here and there. And maybe he just didn't have the right moves to do anything else, but was also scared to switch out of Excadrill because nothing else really wanted to take a hit from Excadrill. So, fair enough, to each their own. Of course, let's keep going. I presume Skier being scared of Ice Punch. We see switch out here, but bluffing Ice Punch, Bushtush goes for that frustration, doing 95% to the Crawdon. And while Crawdon gets that choice band Jet out for 46, frustration is going to get a 2 KO there, and that is huge. Azelf comes in here now, and Bushtush, seemingly fearless, knowing it's probably not going to have Psychic, gets that frustration for a 2 KO. Sure, Azelf gets rocks up, but at what cost? Well, the cost of Azelf's life, and ultimately, those rocks probably weren't worth that. Explosion might have been better. Regardless, though, we see Manaphy go for Substitute, indicating it's likely sub-Salic. Now, Bushtush breaks the first sub here, but now seeing that he's going to go for another one, subbing into Salic range eventually, he senses the pattern here, goes to Mega Lopunny, calling the Substitute, and here's a really cool play. He knows it wasn't Ice Punch now because he shows Encore, meaning he bluffed it before, but because he went Mega Lopunny, showing Ice Punch before, that meant that, sorry about that, that meant that he had FC under the impression it was Ice Punch. If it's Ice Punch, you can't stop it from subbing. You can't stop it from getting that kill with the water move. And losing Mega Lopunny here would have been crucial. Really good for FC, bad for Bushtush. So the fact that he was able to scheme that out and plat it out and reveal Encore at the right time, knowing he conditioned him into substituting again on the attack, was huge. That was a great sequence there for Bushtush. And not only is he ahead 2 Pokemon, but now it feels like he's kind of ahead 3, and he's got leverage, and it feels like this game is getting out of hand for FC. Bushtush has taken a big advantage. And to add insult to injury, while the first frustration is 46, the second one is going to take out the Gliscor from 48, meaning that it was a min-max type of situation. Sure, Superior can come in here, but with Heatran, Tornadus, and the aforementioned Mega Lopunny in the back, it doesn't seem like that's going to be quite enough to do the trick there. The Heatran is going to be able to get rocks up, and while Superior can go for screens, which could help the Mega Altaria, that's going to be the last-ditch effort for FC ultimately. I don't know if there's enough, juice in the back, if you will, for anything else to really do much. Sure, Superior can get screens up, and while it does need a burn, get some potential Leaf Storms up, but that alone is not going to be enough. That won't be the solution to our problem here. We're seeing Leaf Storm blank here, unfortunately. It's just a little challenging for a Bushtush, maybe, if you will, to do much here. He doesn't want to kill this necessarily. He'd rather, die or wait for the screens and then kill this, because ultimately he's trying to minimize this. So what he does here is he goes extra, knowing that the turns are slowly running out, and he takes the Leaf Storm. That's fine, because now he can position himself to a point where the Superior is dead, and Altaria can come in, and he has a feeling that it's not, this is one weird turn for me, because some Altaria run Refresh in the last slot. So they can take Toxic after Mega Evolve, take Wool with whatever it may be. And if this was Refresh, he actually could have just won. Because Heatran, as we see here, taunt Toxic, even if it's Toxic last, every third turn you could heal up. And then if you get enough Dragon Dances, you could win the 1v1 potentially. It would be kind of dicey, but if it was Refreshed, he came in a really risky spot here. But knowing that there's no Magnezone support, which that tends to be needed because you want to trap the Steel types if you don't have Earthquake, this team kind of revealed it was likely to attack. So Bushtush with a calculated risk here. Getting that glare off kind of means it's just lights out. And sure enough, Altaria not only revealed itself to not be refreshed, but he also didn't even have Roost to begin with, because he clicked Substitute here, and that Substitute is just gonna be too little, too late. Sure, the Altaria can live a hit there behind Substitute, but it's going to be broken, and while Frustration would be a 2 KO, it doesn't matter, as Leaf Storm is going to take out the Altaria, and it's going to clean sweep here as Manaphy's going to be taken out, giving Bushtush a nice clean 2-0 series win. Actually, he went for Glare instead of Leaf Storm, I guess, just knowing about you don't want to miss. Makes a lot of sense, yeah. Leaf Storm does break the Substitute, and Manaphy does reveal it with Salic Berry, but at this point, it was too little, too late, as Bushtush can finish the game off with the same Mega Lopunny that killed the Gliscor, that killed the Crawdon, killed the Azelf, etc. Really a big Mega Lopunny game, and Bushtush is going to emerge victorious 2-0. Pretty close games, all things considered, but Bushtush was definitely the better player, better team selection there. Congratulations to him. Good luck advancing in round 2. And for FC, next season will be yours, my guy. Stay positive, head up. Good games all around. Thanks for watching, guys. Have a great day. Okay, bye.